Alright guys, so for the most part I'm going to try and stay out of frame because I look like crap. Let me just be honest with you there. So as you can see, I am finally getting around to my quilting video. I did it once and I had some step-by-step video shots going, and for whatever reason my camera screwed up and it didn't save any of the videos. I had plenty of room on my SD card, so I reformatted my SD card and we're going to try this again. I've already checked it, so it looks like it's working pretty good. So when I do a quilt, and this is the first video I've tried to do basically with showing you the pattern, showing my cuts, showing my blocks, and discussing how I put everything together. And it's not a finished quilt yet, so it's going to be a little interesting to see what happens. I think this will be a two-part series, and this first part is just to give you the basic overview, show you what I've gotten done, and discuss a little bit about the things that you need for this quilt. So let's just start. I got this pattern, and this pattern is called the Dave's Irish Chain. And I got this pattern from FonsandPorter.com, and I will put a link down below to the Fons and Porter website. And there's a search bar in the top right hand corner so you can find this no problem. As you can see, there's a lot of notes on here. I think you can see that. Part of them are because my husband's printer, since I was downstairs, is running out of toner, and so I just printed it out and just started writing in like the things that it said. And then the other part is, obviously, this being an Irish chain quilt, it's supposed to be done in shades of green, in shades of green and beige. And I like the pattern, and I may do it again in greens and beige for my friends who have a love affair of all things Irish. But this specific quilt I am making for my daughter. And so you can kind of see some of the colors, but you'll get to see more of them here in just a few minutes. So I made some notes to basically cross out the green colors and put in the colors that I've chosen to replace those. So white, a pink batik, a blue flower, a purple paisley, a red mandala, and then of course my backing is not solid because she's crazy like that, so she really liked the color that I chose for her backing, so whatever. So the instructions are great. I only had one problem, and it was actually my problem, not the pattern's problem, on step number 6, and I'm going to show you in the comment box down below the changes that I made to this pattern for the colors that I'm using, because I felt like the pattern was the basic pattern was perfect, but for the colors that I chose to use, I wanted something a little different, I guess you could say. Yep, I guess you could say that. So this will all be in all these little changes and stuff will all be in the comment box below. The one thing I do want to say is, nowhere in this pattern and nowhere on the Fons and Porter website does it say when you're cutting your strips how wide your strips need to be, or what length they need to be, I guess. The width of them is 2.5 inches wide. I chose throughout the process of doing this quilt to make my strip sets, or my strips to make into strip sets, to be approximately 19 inches long, because they were just easier to handle. Instead of having a 54-inch strip hanging down between my legs in front of the sewing machine, it just made more sense. So like I said in the comment down below, I will talk about that, and I will also give you basically how many strip segments you will get out of each if you do the 2.5 inch by 19 inches in length. So make sure that if you go to Fawns and Porter and you get this pattern for any color, really it works. I just happen to like the instructions. They were very easy to use, so it was great for me. So let me show you. Here is the second set of instructions, and it talks about finishing your quilt, the quilt assembly, laying out your quilt, the blocks, everything. Like I said, my husband's printer was running out of toner, and it's already just a black and white. I think if I had printed this out in color to begin with, I would have had less problems with my own imaginary colors and changing those over. So then the third page shows your quilt top and how you should quilt it, which is beautiful. I do not quilt tops. I am still learning how to do that and practicing on scraps and stuff like that. So I will probably send my quilt out, because this is for my daughter for her birthday, which is on the 28th. The pattern comes with size options, but it only shows the layout right here for the queen king size, which is 102 by 102. So what you can do is you can go to the Fawns and Porter website, and you can print out, again, the size options, but this time it shows the layout for both the crib, the twin, and the queen size. So that's fantastic. This is actually Queen King. So I do have this, and I did print this out upstairs on my printer because it's color and it doesn't suck. Alright, so let me show you. Like I said, this is one of my strips, and then this is actually still folded because I hadn't cut it down. I didn't need it. And then this is my 19-inch strip here that's in the white color that I used. And this has a very subtle flower accent. You can see my blue flowers here. And I don't have strip sets for the others because I only cut out as much as I needed of the others. But let me show you. The only ones that this doesn't have in it is the purple Paisley, because there's no strip sets with purple Paisley. Those are my 6.5-inch square centers. And the white, no, I take that back. This one doesn't have the white, and it doesn't have the purple Paisley, because this was an extra, a leftover, whatever. So you're going to cut your strip sets out 19 inches, 2.5 inches wide, and then you're going to start sewing them together, and the instructions are very clear about which ones to sew where. So this is the second color that I chose. This was my inspiration color. Then I chose this color, and my daughter chose this one because she really liked it. I wanted a white. I actually wanted something with a little bit more of a subtle print. But she does not like subtle. So I chose just a little bit of a big flower print, and it works out really great. It looks great. I'll show you in just a second. So you're going to get these, and you're going to put them together, and there's 5 segments that you will need. It is a top and bottom for your 6.5-inch square, and then a side and side for your 6.5-inch square. The top and bottom is 3 of these segments, and the sides are 5 because you need, to make it square. Let me show you. So this 3 and this 3 basically are your top and bottom, and then the 5 here and the 5 there is what you're going to end up with on these. Now, all of my centers except for 3 of them are in this print. This is the purple Paisley print right here. This is my 6.5 inch square. And then basically what you do is you take your first 2 set of segments. This is segment 1. And then segment 2. Is basically how this comes out. Okay? So you sew these together, and that's your basic block for, this is actually block number 2 on the pattern. So there are those. So you sew all those together, and for the twin size you need 18, 15, 18. I'm trying to read it upside down and it's very hard to see. Oh, you need 17 of block 2. Then for block 1, this is block 1. This I haven't trimmed down yet because I'm going to, but this is what block 1 looks like. And you need 18 of these. And like I said, I changed the pattern a little bit. Some of these should have been like a lighter color in here in the center, but it didn't turn out that way. So I actually like this little pink and white checkerboard. I think it came out fantastic, even though it was kind of messed up the way it came about. But again, you do your segment strips and you end up with segment strips that are 3 different kind. Let me show you here. But they're all the same length. And so basically what I did was, Frank, stop barking. Francis. Okay, sorry about that, my dog's barking. So basically what I did was I just kind of played around with my segment strips until I found a way that I liked it. I only did 1 of each, well, 2 of each of the segments is what I cut off of my strips. And then I just started playing around until I found a configuration that A, worked, which was the checkerboard pattern, and B, that I liked. So this is what I came up with. Now, with block number 2, there's not a whole lot of figuring out anything. You sew the 3 squares onto one side and the other, and then you do the 5 squares on the opposite side. And the only thing that you really have to line up is this one, this seam right here, and this seam right here on your block segment on each of your corners. Okay? And that's not terribly difficult because it's just, you know, 2 on each end, basically, that you have to line up. But when it comes to this, because you've got 5 strips, it's a little bit more difficult. So let's stop here and talk about some of the things that you need to quilt. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, so please don't think that I am, but I have a friend who has been sewing just as long as I have, which is around 25 years. Both of us were in the same economics class, home economics class, and we did not in home ec make quilts. We made a pillow, we made a piece of clothing, and we did some cooking. I mean, that was literally it. But she still makes clothing. I don't. In fact, I even stopped sewing for probably 20 years, and I just decided to pick it back up about a year ago, and this will be my 3rd complete quilt. I have a couple that I started, and I've done some mug rugs to get me back in the swing of things that came out really fantastic. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I really wish I could remember. It's been about a year since I watched this video. And this lady talked about the disparity, because fabric stretches out, so the disparity when you're sewing and trying to get your seams to line up so that you actually look, you know, halfway decent here. Alright, I could pull a quilt out right now that I worked on. It was my very first one, and it is not pretty at all. Let me just tell you, because I had no idea how to do this. But what you want to do, for those of you who do not know how to do this, one thing I will say when you're pressing your seams, press to one side or the other. Okay, now I wasn't thinking, and I pressed these outward, which ended up sucking really bad when it came to sewing. And so some of my strips for my block 2s, I'm going to go back over and I'm going to repress them before I start sewing on them. But I wish I had done that with these others, because, oh my god. But if you press to one side or the other, then when you turn them right side in so that you can line them up, these seams will actually end up butting up against each other and fitting together like a glove. I didn't do that. And you may still need to pin. I'm just going to say this. Pins are your friends with this quilt. So you butt your seams up, and then what you're going to do is put a pin in here. Now don't sew over your pins. I love my friend, but she sews over her pins, and then she can't figure out how come her pins get bent, stuck into her presser feet, or her sewing needle breaks, or whatever. Okay, don't sew over your pins. Get as close as you can to them, then pull it out, toss it off to the side, stick it in a pin cushion, whatever. But with this quilt, I highly recommend that you pin these strips together before you start sewing, and you just, you know, line them up. And sometimes you may end up, I don't know if you can see this or not, one of the fabrics, this pink one, is just a little bit wider, and it's not that my seam allowance is any different. Probably there's just a disparity in when I was cutting my strips or something. So you might end up with a little, I don't know what this is called. I just call it a ripple. And when I ended up with ripples, I just made sure that they didn't, you know, get bunched up like in the center. So I ended up with like a pleat. So just be careful of that. Always pin, pull your pins out, etc., etc. And have a good iron, because a great iron is going to make all the difference in the world. So you sew the 5 strips together, and then you have a block, basically. Once you have your block, once you have all your blocks sewn, what you need to do next, and let me show this to you, but you need to square up your block. So I love this cutting mat, and I don't remember. Oh, this is an Olfa cutting mat. And I love it because it has all these grid lines, it has all these angles and all this stuff. But for this project, I love it because it has this 10 by 10 square right here in the middle. And when I take my newly finished blocks and I put them on this 10 by 10 square, you can see that it's slightly over all the way around. Okay, so you want to square these up, and the way you do that is you just line it up, get it kind of centered in there, take your straight edge, and make sure that you hold down your straight edge, because I just didn't get it held down right. But you just trim it up. Now, the key to trimming up or even just cutting your squares or your strips or whatever it is that you are working on or working with, cutting your fabric, is consistency. Some of these lines are wider and some of them are narrower. And the one thing that I have found is if you always do the same way on every line. So you can either do inside the line, outside the line. You can put your straight edge, since this one is clear, you could actually put it to where you could see it just barely through the clear acrylic, whatever. But always be consistent throughout your entire project on how you're cutting on your lines, okay? So consistency is something to keep in mind. So there's your 10 by 10, it's all squared up, okay? I'm going to move some stuff here because I want to show you. I still have about, I want to say 14 blocks to go. So there's the 2 basic blocks for my quilt. There's the 2 basic blocks for my quilt. Like I said, this is the one that's going to be mostly in the center. Now, I have 3, and I'm going to show you. The blue, I have this red, the mandala, and then I have the blue flower centers, and I've got 2 of the blue flower centers and 1 of the mandala. And here's why. I wanted something a little funky for my daughter. Now, the center of this quilt has 3 of these main squares right down the center. And I was super excited about that because I thought, oh my God, I can do just blue, pink, blue, and then all the rest are going to be purple so she can see, like, it can be right on the top of her bed, right down the center. It's going to be totally funky, and I liked it. So, let me show you. I don't know how much of this I'll be able to show you because, well, this table is not that big. Let's zoom out. I said out, camera. Oh, that is zoomed out. Sorry. Okay, so if you look on the pattern, and there's the pattern. If you look on the pattern for the center line, because that's the blocks that I have available here, this dark green block is actually this block. So this would be the first block at the top there. Then, going with how I've chosen to do this block would be next. Then another of these. Alright. And then the red block. Let me just loofah these a little bit for the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we'll give them a little layer so that nothing falls off the table. Alright. So then there would be 2 more blocks. I think 2 more. Might be 3. It's 3 more blocks. Yeah. So it'd be 3 more blocks going down, but it would just be these 3 blocks here would be finish the set. Just boom, there you go. So then from there, I'll show you, because I have just enough to show you how this will come together. Just enough. Okay, I'm gonna move the camera. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically what it would look like. Just, there's only 7 blocks here because I don't have another one of these to put up here to show you. But it's a very simple layout, it's very basic, and the thing that I like about it is that these pink squares, these are 2.5, no, they're 2 by 2 squares after all the seam allowances. But these pink squares will run the diagonal like in the, oh goodness, okay, like in the pattern. So there'll be these diagonal lines here that crisscross throughout the thing, and I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, so for the, it's not the binding, but it is the border, I am going to use this fabric, which ties it into that. And like I said, my daughter is pretty funkadelic. She likes bright, bold patterns. She likes bright, bold colors. And this is what she chose for her backing. So this, I think, I probably would have been scared of. However, I'm going to use this white with the little border, the little flowers, the little gray flowers, as the binding. And I think that what that will do is it will allow her to make this quilt double-sided. So I'm okay with that as long as she's okay with it, because she's the one that has to live with it. But this is her backing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up my mess and I'm going to go to bed. But I'm going to upload this video hopefully tonight before I go. And then tomorrow I still have, like I said, I still have about 15 of these to do, or 12 or 13 or something, of these to do. And then I will sew it all together, and I will do another video that shows you guys. I will probably get more in depth in sewing these together with the pinning process and all of that, and then I'll sew them all together, get the basic quilt top done, show you guys that, put the border on, show you guys that, and then I will have to figure out if I am going to try and do like a excuse me, I may do like a corner to corner, just straight sew on these, and just do like a, on these pink ones, and just do like a, I don't know, boxes or whatever they call them. Just something simple so that I can do it all and be done with it and have it ready for her birthday on the 28th. So that's it for tonight. So tomorrow hopefully you'll get to see a whole lot more. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope you guys find some creativity in your lives. Lord knows my daughter is a very creative person, which I love about her. So happy quilting and happy sewing, and if you have any questions or any comments, you can put them down below. I would love to hear from you guys. So I will see you all tomorrow, and hopefully I will be able to get this video uploaded tonight, June 13th.